The hospital is at the far end of this village. It would have been outside the walls of the village. Uh, the hospital started out as a hotel. Uh, Long ago, there was a rail line that came in from New York State, and it ended right at the hospital, and that's why it was a hotel. People would come on the rail line from New York State, and they'd spend the night in the hotel, and then in the morning they would take a ferry boat right across from the hospital to the street and cross the river into Montreal. Uh, Later on, it became a hospital, and it was redone and is all modern now, and it's still being worked on today. And so Gunawage's hospital is quite a modern hospital. Past the hospital, just a little ways past the hospital, there's a recreational area, which is a small bay, which has been there since the seaway was put in. And in that bay, we have the Onage Paddling Club. That area provides a lot of activities for people. People swim in the area, people boat in the area. But the bay was originally part of 5 islands. There were 5 islands, and now there's one island called Kataritakukuta Island. So it's changed over the years, and it's still developing. The seaway started in the 50s, and it opened in 1959. The story with the seaway was that Ganawage tried to fight the seaway a little bit, but it went through anyways because it was a big international project. And the seaway kind of changed Ganawage's lifestyle. The name Ganawage means by the rapids, and it changed everything. We were no longer by the rapids, we were now by the seaway. And my parents had told me long ago when they were kids that horses used to go down to the river to get water. People used to wash by the river. They used to get their water from the river. They used to fish in the river. And once the seaway was put in, it changed the way of life for most of the people in the Ganawage. At the time, the village area, the old village, was the only part where the population of Ganawage was living, and so that seaway changed a lot. And if you talk to some people, it was they'll say that it was one of the worst things that happened to the town. After the seaway came in, we as tour guides, everybody has a little bit of a different story. And so for myself, I was born in 59, so I've been here as long as the seaway. And my family home was right on the seaway, so as a kid growing up with a seaway behind you, I spent a lot of my time fishing. I was always swimming in the seaway, and that's changed a bit. I mean, you still can fish in the seaway, but you won't catch too many people swimming in it. But back then it was acceptable to be swimming every day if you wanted in the seaway. Growing up in the old part of Ganawage was kind of family-like. We had a lot of people on the street that you knew everybody on that street, and I was probably one of the youngest kids on that road, and the whole street knew me. I don't know if I was a troublemaker as a kid, but everybody on the street kind of got to know who you were, and so that whole village area was close-knit. People all hung together, and as I said, we were just in a transition of going from having a free open area to now having the seaway. So it was the older people probably spent a lot of time thinking about how it was and looking out there resenting the seaway, whereas I grew up with it there all the time. So there's a different mindset in Ganawage when it comes to the seaway. We have a lot of the old homes have changed now in the village area. So as time goes by, this whole area has been changed with things added, things taken out. Some of the old homes should be looked at as to maybe restore them or save them, because every year we lose maybe one, and this should be changed probably in the future. But overall, the only thing that we don't touch on too much today is the church. The church has been there since 1725 about, and over the years the church has changed a bit. It's been renovated a few times, and it does house the remains of Saint Kwakaratón. So if you're ever in the area in Ganawage, the church is another area that you might want to look into. We have the main school in Ganawage for elementary is in the village area, and it's also called Cattery School. And the education thing is an area of interest to a lot of people, and Ganawage's schooling system is unique, and we have our own education system. We're almost like a private school. We have our own school board, so the needs of the schools are dictated by what the people of Ganawage decide we need. If there's a change, the people of Ganawage will make the change, and we cater it to what the kids or what we feel the kids need at the time. Another thing that we have in Ganawage are there's always, with his history stuff, there's always mysteries that go. You have people that say it's there, some people say it's not there, and one of the biggest stories around Ganawage, or myths, is the tunnels. Some people claim that there's tunnels under the streets of Ganawage. They claim that it goes from the church to certain houses, and if you talk to different people, they'll say they're not there. Some people claim they're there. Some people have seen walled up doorways in old houses, and so I'm not sure if there's tunnels, but it just adds another thing to Ganawage's history that people will like to look into. Another thing that's not often talked about is the old part of Ganawage on the west side of the village was a quarry area. There was an old quarry in that area on the far end near the hospital, and a lot of the stone, according to some older people, a lot of the stone was taken out of there and taken down to the Victoria Bridge. So a lot of the piers for the Victoria Bridge were made with the stones from Ganawage. And in the history of Ganawage, a lot of the men used to transport stuff down the rapids, the Lachine Rapids, to the old port of Montreal, and stone was one of them. The stone being transported down to Victoria Bridge also meant that the men got there and had to wait, and they started climbing, and they were climbing on the bridge, and they say that that's the beginning of the ironwork profession. Another thing that's changed in the old village is that long ago the whole village street was tree lined. The trees were up and down the two streets, and so if you looked in old pictures of Ganawage, you'll see a lot of trees going up and down the village. You'll also see pictures dating back into the early part of the 1920s maybe, and you'll see the dress of the people, and you'll see a lot of women wearing black shawls and long dresses, and that was the look in Ganawage dating back to around the 1920s or 30s. So over the times, the village area, like I said, has changed a lot. It used to have sidewalks. It doesn't have sidewalks. There's not very much vegetation in the village now, and I would think that maybe in the future we'll have a nice tree-lined street again. So the old village has a lot of stuff for anybody interested in history and just seeing all the stuff that an old village would have. You could come around and check this out tourism office is right in the heart of all of this, so good place to stop in and get some information if you're looking for that kind of stuff. Kahnawake has a lot of stuff that people want to see, so thank you.